Hello students, welcome to another video on your own channel where you can learn English in an easy way. In today's video, we are going to learn about the structure of task 2. In task 2, you have to write 4 paragraphs. उन 4 पैराग्राफ्स में सबसे पहले होता है इंट्रोडक्शन. इन द इंट्रोडक्शन you write about the topic on which the question statement is given. The very first sentence of the introduction is general statement. In general statement, you have to write about the main topic of the question. If your question is about environment, then you will write a sentence about the environment. What do you think about environment? By this sentence, you have to relate your essay to your answer. If it's on technology, you will write something about the technology, and if about health, then you can write about health in the first and foremost sentence of your essay. There are some essays in which you don't need to write the general statement. Then how will you decide whether you have to write the general statement or not? The question statement given to you is a long one. It is about 30 to 35 words. Then you don't need to write the general statement. But if the question statement is short, then you should write general statement so that you can increase the length of the introduction. In paraphrasing, you have to rewrite the statement of the question in your own words. It means there is a statement which is raising a question. You have to rewrite that statement. Now how can you do that? Because there are many students who get stuck in this part of the introduction. There are many ways to rewrite the statement. If I have to suggest a couple of methods, then first of all, you can simply write the synonyms of the nouns, verbs and conjunctions. आपको जो statement दी गई है question में, आप उसके nouns, verbs और conjunctions के synonyms लिख दीजिए. By this way, you can get full bands for paraphrasing. Then another way is in which you can change the voice of the statement. It means if the statement is given in active voice, you can change it to passive, and if the statement itself is in passive voice, then you can switch to active voice. In this way, you can write the same sentence in a very different way. Or if your English is good enough, you can write it anyway, but essence of the sentence should not change. It should convey the same meaning as given in the question. Finally, one more thing, you can also combine the general statement and paraphrasing in a one sentence by writing a complex or compound complex sentence, because it gives a very good impression that you have good command on the language and you can write your answer in an effective way. Another sentence which you have to add to your introduction is thesis statement, where you write about your opinion about the question. What do you think about the question? If it is opinion based, you have to write your opinion. If discussion, then what do you think about it? Whether it is direct question or any other type of question, you have to write your opinion. Most of the students write that their opinion is discussed in upcoming paragraphs. But I think you have to write 2 opinions in one sentence. For the same, you have to ask yourself, what do you think about your answer? And pen it down. In my previous writing video, I taught you how to write an essay. By making a plan, I also taught you how to write the essay in an effective way. This is what you have to write over here. If I talk about my previous video and show you the plan that we made at that time, this was the question. It was about global warming. Global warming is emerging as a great threat to human survival in the 21st century, and sea levels are continuing to rise at alarming rates. What problems are associated with this, and suggest some solution. So, what should be your opinion about the essay? You have to tell the problems and give some suggestions. So once again, I'll tell you that whenever you are writing your thesis statement, pick the first and foremost step from your plan and write it down in your thesis statement. In this way, you are giving a glimpse about your opinion about the question. After writing introduction, next 2 paragraphs are main body paragraphs. The structure of both the paragraphs is the same. In this, you have to write your opinion and give reason for the same, and also have to include an example related to your opinion. Now, in your opinion, you will write what is your first opinion about the question in BP1 and what is your second opinion about the question in BP2. Once again, from the plan, what you have to write? You have to write the why portion over here. Like the problem was risk to people, which wrote in the introduction. Now when you have to start BP1, you will write there is a lot of emission of carbon, and when you would be writing BP2, you will write that stringent laws by government and campaign by international agencies should be undertaken. These are the parts which you would write in your opinion in BP1 and BP2. Then moving further, you have to write about the reason. What is the reason because of which you are giving this opinion? So the reason is once again written in your plan. So you have to pen it down in an effective way. To give reason for your answer, ask yourself what would be the result and finally what would happen. So you have to write these two parts in your reason. For BP1, you will write because of emission of carbon, which you have already written in your reason. You will say there is a change in climate due to which the climatic pattern is changing and coastal areas are submerging. For BP2, stringent laws like use of chimneys by government can reduce the extent of carbon in the environment. And if a campaign is run by international agencies, everybody would think over planting trees and vegetation. This will cool the environment and make it clean. So these are the reasons which you have to add to your BP1 and 2 from your plan. Finally, you have to write an example. Although you can write 2 examples also, but if you don't have 2 examples, then one is also sufficient. We have example about the problem, which says that sea levels would rise by 1 mm by 2030. So for the example part, you give related example. If you have 2 points in your opinion and your example is related to first point, then you will write the example after giving reason for first point and before writing second point. Most of the students write the example at the end of the BP. Doesn't matter whether it is related to first point or second point. It is the reason for reduced C and C marks. So if your example is related to first point, you will write it after first point, and if it is related to second point, then definitely you will write in the end of the paragraph. With regards to conclusion, you have to write the same things in your conclusion in another way. You should have enriched vocabulary so that you can pen down the same opinions again and again. If you want to know how you can write an effective essay, then you should watch my previous video. Another problem which most of the students face is idea generation. They get stuck because they don't get any idea about the question. To sort it out, I'll give you abbreviation. PET helps D. P political, E environmental, T technical, H health, E educational, L legal. As there is P square, it means there are 2 P. First P is personal and second P is professional. Then S says social and D says developmental. If you have to write about political notion, then it can be national or international. With regards to environmental, the environmental can be social or physical. Social environment means environment in your society. Physical environment means all the elements of the environment, whether it is weather, oceans, greenery, or whatever. Then technical means related to technology. Health can be physical or mental well-being. Education can be acquired from the family or institutes, whereas social aspect includes culture, religion, traditions, sacraments, ethnicity. Then we have developmental aspect, which can be related to education, health, or anything else which you can relate to your question. In this way, you can generate ideas. If I talk about my previous question, which was about global warming, we had to give the problems and suggest some solutions. Now, if I go to this idea generation technique, what is the problem caused by global warming? Definitely, it is not political. It is environmental problem. So, what is the environmental problem? The problem is related to environment, which is both social and physical, which we have written in our plan. We've written there is a social problem as there is risk to people and emission of carbon is environmental problem. There is no developmental solution about global warming. Social, no. Professional, I don't think so. Personal, definitely not. Legal, yes, there can be legal solutions. What can be the legal solution? We have written that steps by government like stringent laws, international agencies can run campaigns. So these are the legal solutions. So you can see how we can sort ourselves with regard to idea generation by using this PET helps D. Now I am giving you a question for which you have to make a plan and generate ideas. The question is, living in big cities has a negative impact on people's health. To what extent do you agree? It is opinion based question. You have to give your opinion about the negative impacts of living in big cities, and you have to relate life in big cities with health and not with anything else, because most of the times students don't relate it completely to the question and they go off track. They start writing about employment opportunities, health and education, good standard of living. So you don't have to write about it. You have to relate life in big cities with health, how it is impacting health in an adverse way. If you want to know how to write this essay, please do watch my previous video about writing task 2 and follow the plan and idea generation technique so that you can grab good marks. Thank you.